Welcome back. My name is Dr. Carl Baird, and today I'll be guiding you through our Strength Training for Beginners Level 2 workout, which means if you haven't yet done our Level 1 workout, I recommend checking out that video, going through that workout, just to be sure that you can go all the way through without any breaks and without any pain. And once you're able to do that, come back to this video and join us for the Level 2 workout. Now, before we get started, let's go over the equipment we'll need. We'll need a little bit more because as we progress, remember, we got to be able to add resistance so that we can continue to build strength. So we're going to be using our little 8-inch circular mini band. We're going to be using a red rubber workout band or pull-up band. We'll also be using our step again, and then a medium weight. It can be a dumbbell or a kettlebell. So go ahead and grab those things and then meet me back down here on the mat. And we're going to start with our warm-up. So we're going to do the same workout that we did in our Level 1, which is going to be on our hands and knees, starting with our cat-cow. So all we're going to do, start with the cat, flex the spine, tuck the pelvis in, let the head hang. Press through your hands to really stretch that upper mid-back. And then you're going to move into your cow, which is just the opposite. So you untuck your pelvis, lift your head up, and let the stomach hang. So the goal is just getting some gentle, pain-free movement. Just trying to lubricate our joints. Again, if you're like me, you wake up, you might be a little bit stiff. We're just trying to work out some of that stiffness. Now, things you can do once you're feeling good is you can start shifting your body side to side, finding areas where you are feeling stiff and just focus on those areas. It's going to be a little different for everyone, and that's okay. Good. One more time. Each position. We'll end in a cat here. Last couple stretches, and then we'll meet on our side. We're going to do our side lying twists. So again, all we're going to do here, lying on our side, hip stacked, knee stacked, ankle stacked, and we're just going to reach behind us. Come back to the start. So same idea, just getting some gentle movement in your spine. This is more of a rotation, whereas the cat-cow is flexion extension. Just a gentle twist in our spine. Also stretch some of the muscles down there. But again, our goal is just to get some movement in those joints. Let's get them ready for our workout. Good. Should feel like a nice gentle stretch. We don't want to just hold the stretch in the back here. We do want to keep this an active movement, again, to lubricate those joints, get them ready for the workout. Good. Let's go ahead and switch to our other side. So you can just roll over. I'll switch sides this way so I can face the camera, but it's going to be the same thing. And just watching out for anything behind you. I always do that. I should probably just move that thing. Good. This one's also called the archer. So you can think of, I was pulling a bow back. But again, just a nice, gentle stretch and a nice gentle movement in the spine, just getting our joints warmed up. Remember, when you're strength training for joint pain, it's different than strength training for fitness purposes. We have to really focus on the joints, really focus on control, moving slow and safely through each movement, really paying attention, not just going through the movements, but paying attention to each movement to be sure we're doing it right. All right, last one here. Good. All right, next we're moving on to our back. And we're gonna do the windshield wipers, which is another lower back and hip warm up. We're gonna start with our feet slightly wider than our hips, and then we'll have them drop to the left. And it's okay if your lower back comes off the mat a bit. Again, we're getting a little rotation in that lower back, which is okay. Good. I'm a little stiff today, so this one feels good for me. Just paying attention. One side feels tighter than the left, which in my case it does. Like going to the right feels pretty good. But going to the left, again, there's a little extra stiffness, tightness in there. So it's okay if I spend a little bit of extra time here. But just listening to your body, that's another thing when we're strength training for joint pain. We want to pay attention to what our body is telling us so that we can focus more on that particular issue. Really just pay attention. Last one here. Good. All right. So we should be nice and loose, nice and warmed up. We're going to go ahead and get into our workout. We only have one movement on the ground, and it's going to be our bridge variation. So we're going to do a glute bridge squeeze. So I want you to grab your block. It can also be like a medium-sized ball, like a soccer ball type thing. But what we're going to do, go into our glute bridge position, put the block in between our knees, and we're going to perform that glute bridge. But before we do that, what I want you to do is squeeze your knees inward. Now, it doesn't need to be as hard as you can. I'm not squeezing in as hard as I can. It's more of like a 25% squeeze. That's just going to create a little tension on the inside of the legs. Get into position and then perform our glute bridge, maintaining that squeeze inward so that when you're at the top of your bridge, it should be a lot of tension because I got tension in my glutes, hamstrings, and now my adductors, the inside of my glutes. So I'm going to be maintaining that squeeze the whole time and then relaxing the glutes as I come down to the starting position. But at the top position here should be a lot of tension. We're just going to go up and down. And again, the same thing as our regular glute bridge, whereas if you're feeling it too much in the hamstrings, probably means your feet are too far out. If you're feeling it too much in your quads, it probably means your feet are too far in. So really make sure you've kind of got that middle ground. Most of the work you want to feel in the glutes here. Good. Just one more. And done. So before we go into our standing position, we're going to take our 8-inch mini band and put it around our legs. We want it right on top of the knees. So take your time getting into that position, and I'll meet you in a standing position. All right, so we're in the standing position with that mini band around our knees. We're going to be doing an exercise called the monster walk to target our glute med muscles, which, if you'll remember, really important at controlling hip movement to prevent too much impact at the knee. Now, with that band around your knees, one thing you might notice is that it has a tendency to pull your knees inward. So what we really want to focus on is pressing our knees out to create tension in that glute med muscle. We're going to start with our feet about hip width apart, and then all we're going to do is take a step to the side. So you got wide, hip width. Then we'll just go back, wide, hip width. And so what we don't want to do is when we come and step back is get really narrow here with our feet. Again, we're going to lose all the tension. So the most narrow we want to be is our feet hip width apart, and then it's wide, narrow. And you can do, again, I played basketball growing up, so it's kind of like a defensive stance, like how they teach you to play basketball. So it's okay, you have a slight hip hinge. You don't need to be so stiff in this upright position. It's okay. Just keep that neutral spine. Coming back and forth. And again, you'll start to feel it in your glutes. If you'll remember, in our level 1, we did the clamshell. This is a much more functional way to strengthen that glute med muscle. That, again, really important for controlling movement of your lower leg to help with back, hip, knee, ankle, and foot pain as well. So it's a really important muscle group to target. All right, good. So let's go ahead and take our band off. Take your time. If you got hairy legs like me, sometimes that can be painful, rolling that band down. Good. Now we're going to move into our running man exercise. So this is going to be our balance exercise for this. So what I'm going to have you do is start on your left side. We're going to bring our right foot up to this 90. So my hips flex 90, my knees flex 90, and then I'll have my left hand. So it looks like I'm in a little running position. And then from there, what I'm going to do is perform a slight hip hinge as I bring my leg and arm back. My other arm is coming up. This is why it's called the running man. It's like I'm running in place. So a few things to watch out for. Again, loose knee, so you don't want a locked stance leg here. When you come back, there's a nice hip hinge. I'm keeping that neutral spine. And again, slow and controlled. It's not about how fast you can do this. I really want to make sure that we're focusing on the balance. And if you'll remember the toe taps in level 1, you start to feel it on the glutes as well. If you fall out, it's 100% okay. Just reset as quick as you can. Start in that starting position with the knee and arm up and get right back to it. Again, it's a great balance exercise, but also that glute med. You should start to feel a burn on the outside. You see I just messed up my hands. So getting the coordination down is good too. Okay, let's go ahead and switch sides. So now I'm going to be on my right foot. Left foot is up. Right arm is in the running position. And same thing. We're going to take my foot and arm back as my left hand comes up. Just slow and controlled. Working on balance, working on that glute med in a much more functional way than, say, the clamshell. This is good for walking, good for running, climbing steps, hiking, whatever it is you do in that standing position, this one's going to help. You might notice your ankle really starting to work. You can see on my right side, you can feel it a little bit more. So it strengthens, again, the entire lower leg. And last one here. Good. All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our weight. So again, medium-sized weight. We're going to do our carry exercise. So this is going to be called a suitcase carry, which means I'm just going to be holding the weight in one hand, but we're just going to be doing that march in place like we did in our level 1 workout. So before we get going, we're going to set up. I'm going to do a light squeeze, so about 25% just to create tension up that arm. I'm going to roll my shoulders back and in place. And then all I'm going to do is march in place. So again, bringing that hip to 90, holding for a second just to get that balance, and then back down. Switching sides. And so what you might notice with this one, especially if there's some balance issues side to side, is that one leg is going to be a little bit harder than the other. That's totally normal, but that's why I like this exercise. Forces the weak side to work just as hard as the other. Whew. Played basketball this last week. Sprained this left ankle, so I can feel when I'm standing on that left ankle. It's not quite stable yet. Whew. It's all right. That's how we get it stronger. Usually I'm better at this, I promise. Getting old. Played basketball one time, out a week. All right, good. We're going to switch sides. So again, same thing on this side. Slight squeeze, roll those shoulders back, create a nice strong core, and then we're going to march in place. So main thing with this, you want to keep a nice straight core. We don't want to be leaning to one side, or because it's so heavy, we're leaning to that side. We want to create that tension along the body. This is a great core exercise. This is a great lower body strength exercise and a balance exercise. Weighted carries, just lifting heavy stuff up and walking with it. Some of the best things you can do for your health. Who'd have thought? Helps you get all your groceries in one step, one trip as well. Load them all up and go. All right, we got 10 more seconds here. And last one. Good. All right, so carefully set down your weight, and we're going to grab our red rubber band. So this is where we're going to practice our hip hinge. We're going to add a little bit of resistance to that hip hinge so you can really ingrain this movement pattern a little bit more. So what we're going to do, take your band and step on it right in the middle, as close to the middle as you can, feet about hip width apart, hands holding it at the side like this. Then all we're going to do is perform that same hip hinge movement we did in level 1, which is loose knees, and then reaching the hips back. Keep your spine nice and straight, stopping when I feel tension in the hamstrings. Remember, don't go too low, because that's when you start to round your back, and that's when you're going to have issues. So from the starting position, loose knees, send the hips back. Feel that tension in the hamstrings. That's where you stop. And that's why I really like this banded variation, because it helps, it provides a little bit of resistance so that you can feel that tension in the hamstrings a little bit more. But remember, the hinge and its variations is going to help us build strength in our hamstrings and our glutes. So we want to be able to feel it when they're engaged. So that's what I talked about at the beginning. What's really important, which is go through the movements on this. Really take time, especially with the hip hinge, to feel that you're doing it right, because when we get to more challenging variations with heavier weight, you want to be sure you're using the right muscles. And remember, it's reaching the hips towards that back wall and not bending forward that way. Really focus reaching those hips back, keeping a nice neutral spine, and coming up to that starting position. Good. And at the top, we're done. Okay, next, we're moving into our squat variation. So we did an air squat in our level 1. Now we're going to do what's called a tempo squat, which is basically just an air squat, only we slow it down. So let's start with finding our right stance. Remember, you're playing with the width and you're playing with how much toe out. Everybody's a little bit different based on their anatomy, so do what works best for you. And from there, we're going to send the hips back and drop them down. We're going to take 3 seconds to go down. So very slowly, we're 3, 2, 1. We're going to do a 1 second hold at the bottom. I'm sorry, a 2 second hold. 1, 2. And then stand up at the top. So let's go ahead and do that again. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. And back up. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. And back up. So again, just slowing it down. It's going to help your brain further ingrain that movement pattern so you can do it without having to think about each little step. And that time at the bottom of the squat is going to help you really build that lower body strength. You should be feeling it, especially here, that 1, 2, back up. Other thing to keep in mind, stopping when your thighs get parallel with the ground. Even if you can go lower, for our purposes, which is again, solving joint pain, let's just keep it in a nice, safe pattern. If you can't get that low, just go as low as you can. And we're back. Okay. Next, we're going to be doing weighted step ups. So remember, level 1, we just did a step up, same exact movement, only now we can add a little bit of weight or resistance to it. So I'll be using my yoga blocks and my dumbbells. And all we're going to do, foot on top, pressing to the top, and coming back down. So you can do this one a couple ways. I'm doing just the single leg step up variation, but if you're using an actual step, you can just do a normal step up like you were climbing stairs. No right or wrong, whatever works best for you. But remember, you're pressing up off this top leg. You're not toeing off that back leg. And again, with the weights, it's good to have a little bit of tension, grip in about 25%. Rolling those shoulders back, even though it's a lower body exercise, we do want the upper body engaged. Good. All right, last one here, and then we're going to switch sides. So I'll go ahead and move my blocks. All right, here we go. Same thing. Now I'm on my right leg, just pressing up off that right leg and coming down, maintaining some slight tension with my grip, rolling my shoulders back. And just pressing up off that top leg. Again, nothing fancy. If you're feeling a little bit of pain, feeling a little bit of stiffness in your knee, I would maybe drop the weight, but I'd still want you to perform this movement. Again, this is a safe movement to perform. Sometimes your body, if you're dealing with a knee injury or knee arthritis, will tell you that there's pain because it's trying to protect you. But what we really need to do is build strength in this movement so that pain signal goes away. So it's okay to push through it a bit. Again, this is a safe movement. The other thing you can try is go into a lower step as well. All right, last one here. And done. So we made it. One time through. Let's go ahead and meet back into our position on the mat and we'll start round 2. All right, so let's go ahead and start round 2. Remember, we started off with our glute bridge squeeze, which means we just need our yoga block or ball that we're going to place between the knees. We're going to squeeze our knees together, not as hard as we can, about 25% max contraction. And from there, we press through our feet to bring those hips up. That top position should have a lot of tension, glutes, hamstrings, and your adductors, or the inside of your thighs as well. What we're training our body to do is create this tension, and it's this tension that takes pressure off your joints. This muscular tension takes pressure off of your joints. And that's really the goal of, again, solving pain with strength. We want our muscles to be able to take most of the impact of our daily life, not our joints, not our discs, not our ligaments. That's when we get pain and injury. And that's why building strength is so important, and learning to develop this tension. If you wanted to add a little bit more tension, you can even press your hands into the ground. That's going to develop some upper body tension as well. The more tension, the better. Again, as long as it's not aggravating anything in that low back. All right, nice work. So we're going to move to our standing position. We only got that one, but remember, let's go ahead and put that 8-inch mini band around our knees. before we stand up, because it's a little bit harder once you stand up. All right, so once you have that around your knees, let's go ahead and move to the standing position. We're gonna start the standing position of our workout with that monster walk. So remember, that band will be pulling your knees inward. We really wanna focus on pressing our knees out. Our feet are gonna start hip width apart, and then all we're gonna do is step wide, back to hip width. Back the other way, wide, hip width. Really focus on pressing those knees out. And again, we wanna start to feel it in this glute med muscle. The only thing to really watch out for, it's okay to slight bend in the knees. Remember, defensive stance like basketball, we don't need to lock our knees out. And we don't want to come too narrow when we're stepping in and lose all that tension. So hip width is as narrow as we get. Back to the other side. Again, round two, you might start to feel that burn a little bit more. If it's feeling too easy, just use a higher resistance band. So I'm using the green band, which is the second lowest. The next step up would be a blue band, which can get pretty difficult. So if this is feeling too easy, move to a blue band. I'll put a link of what I use. There is on Amazon, it's like $10. It has 4 different levels, a yellow, green, blue, and black. So you can always just meet you at your level. This might be too hard, it might be too easy for people. So if you just have options, you can do what's best for you. All right, good. So let's go ahead and take that band off. And we're gonna move into our running man, our balance exercise. So remember, if I'm standing on my left foot, my right foot is at 90, my hand's at 90, and then from there, slow and controlled, bring in my arm and leg back, my opposite arm forward, like I'm running in place. Coming up. And back. So again, remember, slow and control. This one is all about balance. How long can we stand in this single leg position without falling over? Again, you'll probably start to feel that glute med kicking in. But again, we're working on balance and strength in a more functional way. Again, this is important. Walking, running, climbing stairs, hiking, building strength in a single leg is going to help you perform all those activities as you get older, so you can be functional. All right, good. Let's go ahead and go to our right side. So again, same thing, standing on my right. Now my left leg and right arm are at 90. And we're gonna go ahead and start. Bringing both back, opposite arm up. So we're running in place. And just remember to keep a nice loose knee so your knee's not locked out. That slight bend is going to make sure that it's, again, the muscles doing the work. When you get into that locked out position, it's your joint, your ligaments, your meniscus doing the work, which is not what we want. We want to train our muscles to take most of the impact of our life. That's how we avoid joint pain. That's the goal. Limit impact on your joints. You can only do that through strength and movement. No pill, no adjustment, no massage. It's going to help you limit impact. Only movement and strength. All right, good. So we're going to go ahead and pick up our kettlebell, do our suitcase carry. So remember, before we start, slight grip on the weight, create that tension up the arm, roll those shoulders back and in place, and then march in place. Again, pausing just a second at the top, really let that balance kick in. And again, just like everything else, slow and controlled. One leg might feel a little bit harder than the other. like mine right now, my left, because I sprained my ankle playing basketball. I can really feel that ankle doing extra work because it's a little bit unstable right now. Not good or bad, but I'm just paying attention to it. The more you know about your body, the better. The more you're going to be able to help. Lesson number 2, listen to your body. But I'm serious. I mean, a lot of the people I work with, it's they just don't listen to what their body's telling them. We kind of ignore the signals that it's telling us. And then we mask them with pills or injections, which is the worst thing you can do because then the condition gets worse. You got some pain relief, but you're not fixing the actual problem. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. Slight grip, create that tension up the arm, roll the shoulders back. Same thing, marching in place. Carrying your groceries. Nice work. And again, maintaining that nice strong core. You don't want a weight that's so heavy that you're having to really lean to one side. You want your trunk to stay in this nice upright position. But like I said in round 1, weighted carries, lifting heavy things and carrying them around, one of the best things you can do for overall strength. Ten more seconds. Nice work. Doing great. Starting to get sweaty. Means I'm working. All right. Good. So let's go ahead and carefully set that weight down and grab our red resistance band. We're going to do those weighted hinges. So you're going to take both ends of that red band, try to step right in the middle, holding on to each end here. And then we're just going to do that hip hinge. So again, loose knees, reach those hips back. Keep that neutral spine stopping when you feel that tension in the hamstrings. And coming back up. Again, thinking of reaching those hips back. It creates a little like triangle from my knees to my hips, back up to my trunk. What I don't want to do is bend forward here. I don't want to lock out my knees and do the drinking bird. It's loose knees, reaching the hips back. On the opposite end of that spectrum, I don't want to turn it into a squat. So when I say loose knees, it just means allow them to bend, but I'm not actively bending them and doing a squat like that. Feeling that tension at the hamstrings. Go ahead and do 2 more. 1, last one here. And done. Nice work. Okay, next we're moving into our squat variation. So again, just that tempo squat. So start by finding the right stance with your feet. And then from there, it's 3 seconds down. 3, 2, 1. 2-second hold. 1, 2. And stand back up normally. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. And back up. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. And back up. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2. Good. Again, remember, start unlocking at the hips, so it's not a unlocking at the knees. Unlock at the hips, then move down. Pausing when your thighs get parallel with the ground. 2, 1. Back up. We got 1 more. 3, 2, 1. Let's hold this one for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And back up. Nice work. Last one is our step up. So let's go ahead and grab our steps or move over to our steps. grab our dumbbells. Again, if you only have that kettlebell that we use for the suitcase carry, that's totally fine as well. You just hold it in the opposite arm of the one that's on the step. So if I were stepping up with my left foot, I'd be holding the weight in my right hand. But from there, let's go ahead and get started. Press up off the top foot, come to the standing position, and back down. So again, you want to control this movement. If you're feeling strong, feeling confident, you can start to move a little bit faster on this round, but just make sure, again, it's controlled. That knee's not wobbling. You're not struggling with balance, because that's where we get injured. And again, it only takes one quick little slip up for something to happen. So again, when we're building strength to solve joint pain, it's a little bit different. We got to focus on form and control over how much we're lifting, over how many reps we're doing. And that's really the difference. Go ahead and switch sides. All right, right foot. And that's really my opinion when, people ask me about things like CrossFit and Orange Theory and all these other fitness classes. I'm never going to say no to something that gets people moving. But one of their main problems is all they focus on are reps and how fast you can do certain movements, which isn't great for people who are struggling with joint pain. It can actually make the joint pain worse if you're not focusing on correct form, because it's putting more impact on your joints, which is the opposite thing of what we're trying to do with strength training, which is why I really like these type of workouts. They're slow, they're controlled, but they're still challenging. I mean, I've been strength training for 10 years, and you can see me, I'm sweating. I'm getting a nice workout in as well. All right, I'm gonna do one more. Nice work. So we completed those 2 rounds. You know that I like to end each of these workouts with a little bit of a core challenge. So let's go ahead and go back down to our mat and do a couple of our plank series. I'll meet you down there. Nice work so far. Now, as you know, I like to end each of these workouts with a little bit of a core challenge. My favorite core exercise for, again, just safety reasons is just a simple plank and a side plank. So let's go ahead and meet in our plank position, an elbow plank. If you'll remember, level 1, we did knees. So if that's where you want to stay, that's totally fine. But I'm going to move onto my toes, and we're just going to hold for a minute. Now remember, the goal is to be able to hold for a minute straight. But if you're not quite there yet, it's okay to just drop the knees, take a quick break, stop the timer, and then come back up. So you can break up. You still want to do, if you're taking breaks, you still want to do the 60 seconds total. So you stop the timer. You don't want to cheat by doing it for 10 seconds and then taking a 20-minute break and then another 10 seconds and another 20. So you're only planking for 20 seconds. That makes sense. Don't cheat yourself. You're doing this for you. So again, we're going to accumulate a minute. For those going straight through, we got about 10 more seconds here. Doing great. 5 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Great work. Next, we're going to move into our side plank. So remember, level 1, we were doing a knee side plank, which is just the side plank on your knees. That's the level you're at. Stay there. If you want an extra challenge, go ahead and we're going to move to the toes, just like the toe plank or elbow plank. Good. So go ahead and go. This one we're doing for 45 seconds if we can. Body in a nice straight line, elbows stacked so we're not rounding inward there. And again, we're holding for 45 seconds. Side planks are a lot tougher. So if you need to take your break, if you're having any shoulder pain, which might be common with these go ahead and just skip this and be done with your workout. Side planks aren't worth the pain to your shoulder. Nice work. We got 10 seconds left. Whew. Don't let those hips drop. Keep the knees up off the ground if you can. 2 and 1. Nice work. Okay. Switch sides. We got 45 seconds left. And then we're done with our workout. So again, make sure elbows right in line with the shoulder. When we come up into our starting position, we want everything in a nice straight line. I want my elbows stacked. You can do anything you want with your arm. Just make sure you're not twisting at the shoulder there. I'm breathing heavy. Whew. Nice work today. Nice work. We got 15 seconds left. Try to go all the way through. If you need to take a break, pause the video, stop your timer, and really try to get those 45 seconds in. Again, the side plank is a really great exercise for important lumbar stabilizers, protect your lower back, and good. Don't let me talk and stop you at the 45. All right, nice work. So that was our Strength Training for Beginners series, our level 2 workout. So if you can't, remember, if you can't do the whole workout, try starting with just one round. And then as you build strength, as you build confidence, work with us to complete the entire round. And when you're done with that, hopefully we will have our level 3 workout to move up to, so you continue to build strength and improve your movement. That's all I got for you today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I am here to help. I do read them and I do respond. Thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, it's Dr. Carl Baird here, and I wanted to thank you for watching our previous video and supporting our channel. Now, if you're somebody who's looking to build strength to solve joint pain, keep active, and maintain your lifestyle as you get older, be sure to subscribe to our channel to watch all of our new videos. You won't find it anywhere else.